Hey guys. I started a stream. I know I look like an idiot and like a dumbass because like I haven't done anything all day. I was scrolling on TikTok and I saw this guy. And I know I'm not gonna get any viewers. But when I become famous one day and people come and see me, and I don't know, they come into my lives and see me, they're gonna see me reacting to this idiot. Bad Faith Barry.
What do you define creation?
Just causing something to come into existence. We don't think that time came into existence. We think it always existed.
If you disagree, I'm gonna be proving some
And
points wrong.
he defined as a mind that created everything.
Well, that's the God that I'm saying doesn't exist.
Like a mind that created everything doesn't exist.
Yes.
So,
It's his
Or like a mind that created the universe.
picking up on half of his stuff.
can I ask why anything exists rather than nothing at all then?
It's going to apply equally in your view. Why does God exist as opposed to like nothing?
Can I ask that? What's your answer to that? I'm curious.
Gosh, I mean, I'd probably just say it's like a brute fact. It's just going to be like foundational.
Yeah. So the thing that basically pushed it over the edge, right? Because if you have infinity, let's visualize this. You have infinity moving in both duality, both polarities. You have infinite positive, infinite negative, black, white, whatever. There's some kind of duality, and then where those two things meet is this emptiness, this like infinite possibility, this stance of like absolute void, nothingness. What pushed it over the edge to being something rather than nothing?
Well,
You
okay,
say
what I
it's
will
just a
say, I do
fact.
think that there's certain like necessary existences that couldn't possibly fail to exist. So, for example, truth. In a world where truth doesn't exist, it would be true that truth doesn't exist. So, thus, truth would exist in the world where truth doesn't exist, which is a contradiction. Thus, truth must exist. So, there's certain things that must have existence.
Like, tell me how.
So can your definition of God one more time? I apologize. Is
Yeah, a mind that created the universe.
Because if anyone has a theory about how you create the creator,
A mind that created the universe doesn't exist, but there is something rather than nothing. But the universe exhibits rational mathematical structure. Rational structure requires a rational source. Mathematical laws are mind-like in nature. That's where I think we might disagree. It's just a matter of perspective. Mathematical laws, the laws of physics of reality, they're mind-like in nature. They involve abstract relationships, logical consistency, purposive ordering that mirrors the structure of rational thought, but just on a much grander scale, a near infinite scale. And that universe's rational structure preceded and enables all finite minds, like human intelligence. But human intelligence discovers, but doesn't create the mathematical laws like governing reality.
Yeah.
Therefore, the rational structure of reality points to a foundational rational source,
No,
a
the
mind-like
opposite.
reality that grounds the intelligible order we observe.
The opposite.
So if there's a mind-like reality that grounds the intelligible order that we observe, this foundational rational source structures reality is precisely what we mean by God as a creator mind. It's not a physical being. It's not a dude in a chair sitting in the sky. It's the ultimate rational principle, the logos, that gives reality its comprehensive lawful character. It doesn't have to have a beginning or an end, because that's actually a completely separate question. If the universe itself exhibits rational mathematical structure, we have to agree on that. Rational structure requires a rational source. We have to agree on that. You posited that earlier. Random processes or brute material facts
No,
cannot account.
wait, hold on. Wait, let's get off the script for a second. Maybe close the chat GPT. I'm gonna account for this in the way that I've already explained via the dispositions that exist within properties.
You say
of
I'm
various
arguing in bad
things.
faith, bro? Like,
Well, you're very obviously reading off of a script. Everyone hears it.
I'm looking
There's
you in
there's
your
a
afro
distinct
eyes.
sound that
Don't-
it has when people start reading off of something. That's exactly what it sounded like.
What fit is he trying to pull off?
But I've already explained to you what I think accounts for all the uniformity.
Probably heavier than him.
What do you think? Do you think if you think there's not a rational foundational source, that like a logic that precedes all things, there's a mind.
I don't think
That's
that
what
there's
that
a
would be a
mind.
mind. That's what we do. So if there's fundamental laws of reality,
Created Genesis. You read
agree?
the Bible.
Physics, math. Why is that not
Because
how
I
does that
think
not
that we're able to
mirror?
account for these things via dispositions that exist as properties. So the analogy that I gave earlier, or the example I gave earlier, the water molecules have the property, the disposition to do specific things under specific conditions. So if you get these molecules to a specific temperature, right, they'll freeze or maybe they'll boil. They have the disposition to do that just via the properties that exist within the particles themselves.
So the particles, yeah, I mean, yeah, it sounds like a mind to me. It's like literally
Properties
there's laws of
are a
nature, laws.
mind?
Yeah, if there's a foundational rule
Does
set,
a mind have
there's
properties?
a computational rule set that's like computing
Wait,
itself
so you think
actively.
you think a
in the
mind
for all
is
of eternity.
properties?
It's thinking.
You think a mind
it's a
is
thinking
properties?
mind. It's the playing out of
Is a
presupposed
mind
They were
properties?
just
Answer the
talking
question.
about.
A mind is not properties. A mind
They
would
were
be
just
something.
talking about
Then it's not the same thing as a mind. Perfect. I'm glad that
Well,
you
those
said
are-
something that
aren't
is created
synonyms.
is created with a purpose.
Yeah, exactly. So then,
But
what I
the
described is not a mind.
purpose,
It's not a
something
god.
that is created,
What's
can't
gonna be
create
considered
itself.
my
So
view?
how was it created?
So you said that molecules are
God
not
created
God.
it.
Correct.
What was your point?
God
Okay,
created
we
the
can agree on
molecule.
that.
No,
What's your-
God created the thing that was made without.
So do you
that
have
was
like a
made with
critique of the
purpose.
view?
He can make things without purpose too.
What is it? What is the view you just gave me?
How
What
can
are
you
you
prove
talking
that God
Do
is
you want me to
real?
explain it a second
The
time?
growth
about? I
of
think I won the
humans.
debate. I think I
The
won, and now you're just holding.
advancing
What are you talking
in
about?
You think?
human technology.
Wait, I'm sorry. You think that declaring
Advancing
victory after you
as
can't
humans
track
in
this
general.
basic point is
We
going to
would
go over
be dead
well?
without God. We wouldn't be. And
What
then
is your
they're trying
point?
to say,
That
You can
mind
rhetorically
molecules
What
on
if
water
there
aren't
is
God.
no
We
I
can
think I
agree
won
on
this
that
debate. I think I
completely.
won this
Without
debate.
him,
But
well,
every single
it
person
has
that's
been
tracking
here
the conversation,
since
both
forever.
rhetorically and substantively,
Then we
can say
would
that
have
you're getting your
evidence.
fucking back blown out.
Scientifically,
You're
we
doing
would have
terrible in this
evidence
conversation.
of stuff
So let's try this one more
from
time.
the universe
What's going to be
being
the critique
here
of my
since
view,
forever.
specifically that
We
properties are
have
at the foundation of
evidence
nature?
of
You're a lamb in
the
the slaughter. You
universe
can't
being
tell
here
us what the
since
critique
Jesus'
is.
time, since
Getting
Christ
laugh
and
at
commandments.
that.
We have
What's the
evidence
critique?
of all of that.
Well, I'm just laughing because
Scientifically.
you've resorted to
And
this weird
we have
ad
evidence
hominem, like just
faithfully.
trying to make
it
it into
doesn't
this
even matter.
personal
The
attack. I gave
fact
you my.
You
proof that
switched
God
to
is
meta
real
first.
is you have
If
to
you want to do
prove
meta,
that
has to be meta.
Christianity is here in general.
But I gave it to you. I said.
Christianity
So
wouldn't
I
exist
literally
without
just
God
said it
anyway.
earlier.
there's like the quiver
God
in
is
your
a
voice.
state
It
of
sounds like
mind.
you're in
God
the
isn't a
sprinter's
big
position.
person
You
sitting
can't
in an
think of a
office chair at the
critique
gate
of
of
my
heaven.
position. So instead, what you're trying to do is posture.
And this isn't like rage bait. This guy's probably rage bait. To be
Hello.
honest, this is
Oh, my lost
top
connection.
10 rage bait.
So,
And
lay
he's
it out
working
again.
on
What's
me.
your position?
Gotcha, yeah. So my
it's
position
pissing
is
me
that
off.
particles have properties. These properties give them a dispositional quality such that under certain circumstances, for
They're stuck
example,
on
if they're at a specific
the
temperature,
particle
they're
thing.
going to behave in specific ways. So if you
freaking-
get a bunch of water molecules and you get them to a specific temperature, they have the
I see what's
disposition
happening.
via
I'm
their
trying to-
properties.
I see what's
that-
happening.
Joanna,
You're
I'm
Ben
thinking-
Shapiro, fucking, you're jerking off all over the entire conversation with a bunch of irrelevant. What is this, dude? What are you? Go back. Zoom. Go.
You
Step
asked me
back.
what accounts for the uniformity of nature. What accounts for the
I
uniformity of nature
actually
Not what I
is the
asked.
properties
appreciate
and
this guy now. He
dispositions
just
that
said he was
things have.
jerking off all over this conversation.
Yeah, and I said that those
They
properties.
are.
This,
What
This
accounts
guy
for the
is.
wall-like structure of
the
I don't know
rational
what he's
laws
doing.
that create.
I
Yeah,
told
the,
you
the
exactly what the
rational-
deal was. What
The
accounts for the
rational
wall-like
substrate for
structures.
existence. The rational substrate for existence.
Sorry,
These
define
mathematical
rational
laws.
substrate. What does rational substrate refer to? Go ahead.
The mind of the mind. God. That's
why
they're
should I
synonyms.
believe that there's a
You think
rational
it's
just a
substrate for
mind.
existence?
Because
Why should I think that there's
he's
a
in
mind
your
for
mind.
You just
existence?
explained
That's
why it
question
is. You said
begging.
the very properties
How-
of it itself have.
how
rules
did
that
God
you
Granted
exist
earlier that
if he's
minds
the
are not the same things
creator?
as properties, which
How
means that this
how
is
does
a
God
non-point
create
for you.
himself?
Properties are-
Because he was here
properties
for
are a-
eternity.
Delineation. They come
He
out
wasn't
from the mind
created.
itself. They
Oh,
created them.
and does
He's
the mind
an
have the
idea.
property
Has
of creating?
property.
Wait, does the mind have the property to create
God is an
delineations?
idea that has been here for centuries. That's been here since the
Clearly
beginning of
so.
time.
So then,
God,
then
you
properties
can't
are
create the
pre-minds.
creator. He was here.
How is that? How does that make sense? If a mind
The
is
creator is
itself
what
has
creates
properties,
everything.
that means properties
that,
are at a lower ontological
See
level
this?
than minds
My
you
computer,
just
my
conceded.
webcam. Hello, guys.
no, I didn't.
Wait,
A
so which comes
human
first,
created
properties or
that.
mind?
Who created the human? The human that created, or God. Who created
Quickly.
God?
That doesn't have to be quickly. You're
No
trying
one
to.
created God
Why
because
does it
God
have
is
to
a
be
thought.
Which
I
one?
think,
Which comes first,
And
properties
that
or
is why
mind?
people believe in God. How does karma exist? if
There's
you
no
don't believe in
first.
God?
There is no beginning.
Do minds
Karma.
have properties?
It's just like karma. Karma isn't a thing.
Everything
It's
has
an idea.
properties. What are you saying?
It's just like when you
The
say,
properties
when you
must exist
think
prior to
that
the
if you're
mind,
doing
because the
something-
mind
Why?
possesses
It's like when you
properties.
think
the mind is going to be
you're doing-
composed
I don't
of
see.
properties, which means that
In fact,
properties
no,
exist on
possessing
a lower
property doesn't mean
ontological
composed.
level than the mind itself. Because you
Oh,
said
I
that
see.
properties come from the mind delineating them, but that implies that the mind has the property of delineating properties, which means
Yes,
properties
paradox.
exist
You're describing
prior to
paradox.
the delineation of
He is
That
properties.
just
doesn't that's
describing
a logical
paradox.
leap. That doesn't imply that properties exist prior
Where
to
was the
mind. And if
logical
it did,
leap?
then that would
Sorry.
mean if it did, then whatever precedes mind, you're saying that something precedes the mind itself. That would be the mind that precedes that mind. It's fractal. It's infinite. This is a meta.
No, I'm saying that properties precede mind, not that mind
Well-
precedes mind, but that for that mind, there's going to need to be properties that
Believe in
precede it.
God.
For any mind,
Believe
there
in
will
God,
be properties
guys.
that precede it, which
If you
means
don't
that
believe in
properties are
God,
ontologically foundational
That's
to mind
okay with
itself.
me. I'm okay if
And
you
what?
don't believe in God.
Okay.
Just
So
shake
I'll
it
just
to the
try and
left
grant
hand.
you this. So what created those properties then? They just existed
Properties always
eternally.
existed, yeah.
Okay. So if there's an eternal property, then what would that be called?
The eternal. What do you mean by
The eternal property
properties?
that creates
I'm going to
all
say
other
that these
properties.
eternal properties
Hold on.
existed
What?
within matter
It's
itself.
Okay,
Also,
so
the
if there's
thing that pisses
an
me off about
eternal
this guy,
ontologically
freaking,
supreme property that has the ability to create
There
other
isn't an
properties beneath it,
ontologically supreme
freaking
property. That's not what I said.
And what-
Afro guy keeps
is it not what you just said?
No.
There are properties that
The
exist
Afro
that
guy
precede
keeps
everything that are eternal
interrupting
and
the
have
other
the
guy that's
property
making the
themselves to
points.
create further properties.
Preceded ontologically,
See-
not
see,
preceded
he was just talking.
temporally.
So if there are
Do you,
ontologically
and do you understand
preceding,
that? Wait. To be clear,
He was
do you
just
understand
talking.
the distinction there between
Which
ontological
distinction?
priority versus like temporal priority?
It's like, let's
Yes.
say you have an Xbox
Can you
here.
explain the distinction?
You have an Xbox here.
not really.
Xbox
I
was
kind of get
not
it though. I
made
can
with
see
a
what you're saying.
purpose.
Okay.
God did not have
Sure.
a purpose
So
to create
properties
Xbox.
are ontologically prior
God did have
to
a
minds
purpose to create
themselves,
Xbox.
but they're not
God
temporally
had a
prior
purpose
per se.
for everything.
I would say that they are.
He had a
I would
purpose
say that they are
to create
temporally prior,
humans.
but in your view, at
Humans
the
was
very
his
least,
purpose.
they're going to need to be
Xbox
ontologically prior.
serves the purpose of games
Okay.
or fun games.
Yeah, so that
Advancing,
means that God is not the foundation.
putting companies out there, whoever made Xbox.
What is the foundation?
Properties.
So if there's a foundational property that holds the ability to create all
Not
other
one
properties,
property. Properties themselves.
how can
Properties
so
themselves
what-
can't
what
make
is
properties.
okay? So there's a multitude of properties that exist and precede all other properties, and that multitude of properties holds the ability to create all other properties from itself eternally. That sounds like a pretty cool definition of what I would call God.
But we already agreed that properties are pre-mind, so it wouldn't be God, because the mind is not equivalent to properties. In fact, properties come before the mind, which means that God is not the foundation of reality. Properties are.
So that would be God, though, that creates like this
Is
eternal
God, is God
property.
properties? Is a mind
The-
properties?
So remember, we're just using language here. We're
Is a
pointing
mind
at something
properties?
ineffable. God is the ineffable. It's the ineffable.
mind
We're trying to
properties?
describe at this point. Because if you try to describe something at this level
a
of,
mind
hold on, let me answer your question.
properties?
Let me answer your question. You
Yes
keep
or no?
interrupting me and asking the same question. No, because when you're asking ineffable,
Wait, well,
you're
let's get
making
the question on screen. This guy disagrees that it's a yes or no. That's embarrassing.
No.
That's humiliating for you. Wait, we're going to show the
I've
question,
been
and then we're going to
requested to
determine whether or
join.
not it's a yes or a no. Is
he keeps
a
interrupting you, chat.
is a mind properties? This guy's convinced that
Let me
is a
look at
mind
it.
properties is not a yes or no question. That's the level of
No.
like stupidity
Is
we're
it
operating
mind
at with this guy.
properties?
This
Is
guy
it
is
mind
telling us
properties
what a
is
yes or no
not a
question
yes or
is.
no
You're
question.
not convinced
Chat.
that this is a yes or no question. Did you not learn about yes or no questions when you were in like the
Chat,
second
can we?
grade? Or you're not
Yeah.
Is a mind properties. Is a mind properties. On the surface, it is a yes or no question on the surface. But in this context, it's not a yes or no question. And then, for the answer to this question, you need to answer what are properties on the deepest level. On what is the deepest level of properties? No, mind is not a property. A property is like, oh my gosh, what are your properties? Oh, I have soft hair. I have squishy skin. That's a property of you. You have that property. A mind can carry properties like, oh, I'm smart. That's a property of your mind, but your mind itself is not a property. And I don't know, they're calling God the mind. God is in your mind. He is not the mind. He is the master mind. No one's watching the stream. I just feel like I have to make a point about this. If this guy was ever watching, your mom doesn't love you, your dad left you, your grandpa hates you, and you're gonna grow up to be Adam Sandler. I'm just kidding. But get your no-life ass off of TikTok. Go get a girlfriend. Go touch grass. Go do a job. Like, no one giving you roses. There was one person in chat that I've seen you give roses in the 30 minutes I've been in here. So, I don't want to hear it. I'm not even trying to be Pat God here. Pat God isn't here. Stop sending in finger hearts. Good boy. You didn't see there's people that sending in finger hearts. Basically, my point is, go outside, touch grass, go see a therapist, go to church. If you're going to talk about why God isn't real on a TikTok live, go outside. Stop venting on TikTok, you dumbass. You can go anywhere else instead of creating this rage bait to get likes and views on TikTok. Why? How do you make this channel? Why does this channel exist? Because God made your channel. God made your channel. God created you. God created your mom. God created your dad. God created your grandma. God created your grandpa. Though they all hate you, doesn't mean you have to hate on God. At least you were born. Do you know all those people that are dead? All those people that are dead, God planned for you to be alive. He planned on you saying that God isn't real. And you know what? He planned on me to clown on you right now too. And you know what? Whatever happens in the future on this live stream, whatever has the future to this live stream, if people find it, if people don't, whatever happens, God planned it. God planned our lives. I'll use the example of One Piece. Oda says he already knows the ending panel of One Piece for the manga. He already knows it. He already knows the ending. He already knows all the islands. He's known it since he started One Piece. That is God. He's known what he wants to do for the world, beginning to end. It is literally said that the world will end because of the world exploding or something due to humans. Something with, or due to the sun exploding. Because of our error. And due to that, the Bible verse, we can tell that is true. Look at the ozone layer. It's deteriorating. It gets hotter every year. It's supposed to get hotter every year, but it gets hotter and hotter every year, increasingly more, because they have the ozone layer. At this point, if the ozone layer keeps crumbling, the sun is either gonna burn us to death or it's gonna explode, like it says in the Bible. And then he's just gonna bring up, no, people are only crumbling the ozone layer so that the Bible verse can be real, because all of you guys are God writers. Go suck off a Bible. No, that's just not true. And you know what? Prove to us that God isn't real. We're here proving to you that God is real. We have to prove that to you. But why do you have to prove? We have to prove to you why God is real. But why don't you prove to us why God isn't? Because you're just trying to disprove our arguments. How about you start an argument of your own by starting why God isn't real? Instead of just reverse saying about what other people say.
Is there no other side? Is he?
Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, do you
answer? Then I would say no. I can't. I refuse to answer that ridiculous question. Actually,
well, we can do it two ways. Gosh, the things you make me do.
Can God unexist himself? Like, perhaps he could. Maybe it would be the end of all things. I mean, we really can't say. You have to remember that this is like We're just
You
humans, so we don't
dumbass.
have the ability to make such assertions. It would just be a guess.
But you would
It's
say that
irrelevant
God's
to my
properties,
You know
God's
what?
properties change?
This is rage bait. They're just talking about properties.
I would say
This is rage bait. I don't have to say it. Don't fall for rage bait. Fuck you if you fall for rage bait. That means fuck me. Look, look, look. I'm fucking myself. Whoa. Pause. Weird. Gay. Don't fall for this rage bait. Believe what you want to believe. Do not dump your shit on TikTok. If God isn't real to you, you don't have to. Guys, extra, extra. God isn't real. Trust. Like, no. He just is. And then I saw people in the comments saying, oh, this guy can't prove it because they don't use those big words in church. Like, shut up. They can use those big words in church. Do you even go to church? No. Does he go to church? No. Do you need to go to church to be a fully Christian? Or to be full Christian and believe in God? You don't need to go to church all the time. It's not like a requirement. Oh, I gotta go to church every Wednesday and every Saturday. Or every Sunday. No, you don't need to go to church every day. You can go to church every once in a while when you feel like it. But it is a requirement as a Christian to go to church at least once. Do what you want with this live stream. I hope someone finds it and maybe makes an edit about me. If they don't, that's fine too. It's all God's plan. Do a dance, do a dance. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Get off TikTok. Ban you, ban you, ban you. I hope they ban you, I hope they ban you. Let's go.